This is Garis, Masculist MGTOW flyers. That is 2 or 3 page essays on the themes of masculism and MGTOW, written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. This is flyer number 526, entitled The Masculist Fluffie Concept, Yet Female college students outnumber males 2 to 1. Description. This flyer examines the It's gone blank. Real time. This flyer examines the apparent paradox that masculists push women to FIP up, yet female students on campuses outnumber males 2 to 1. The flyer itself. The Masculist Fluffie Concept, Yet Female College Students Outnumber Males 2 to 1, by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. This flyer addresses the question, quote, why do masculists place such emphasis on women fipping up, not financially parasiting on men for decades of their lives, when in today's world female students on campus outnumber male students 2 to 1? If anything, shouldn't feminists be putting pressure on men to fip up so that they can pull their own financial weight with women? Question mark, end quote. There are a lot of well-qualified women who are real fips, who complain that there aren't enough well-qualified men for them to find a male partner with whom they can satisfy their female hypergamous instinct, that is, the desire to mate up with a superior male whose DNA is superior to hers, so that her kids benefit from the superior father's DNA. It's true that in many US colleges now, the female to male student ratio is about 2 to 1. So if this trend continues, then millions of women will be forced to date down, to marry down, to mate down, with men who are less capable of earning good money than they can. This flyer discusses this issue, which is more subtle than it looks. Firstly, I attempt to refute the idea that young women are now out-earning men due to them being more academically qualified. Masculists have been complaining for decades that women study fluffy crap majors, that is, the intellectually easy, memory-based majors that do not require abstract thinking, such as math and the sciences. Young women prefer, on the whole, to study the so-called soft option, which at high school would include such subjects as foreign languages, English literature, history, geography, biology, etc. By studying what the masculists call fluffy crap majors, making these women fluffy crappers, they are obliged to study more fluffy crap at college, since the colleges exclude them from studying STEM fields and the professions because they do not have the prerequisites they should have studied at high school. So they end up with a fluffy crap diploma that the economy does not value. So they are incapable, on the whole, to earn good money. In their 20s, they screw around a lot, usually not saving much, if at all. Then in their 30s, their biological clock will start ticking hard. So they stop their screwing around and start looking for some gullible man-slave to work for her, to pay for her, to live in a middle-class house that he pays for, so she can raise her kids in it. A decade later, she'll be bored with him, her 41st penis, and will take him to the fluffy feminist-controlled divorce court and have him financially butchered, taking custody of his kids with a 90% probability, taking his house, forcing him to pay child support to his kids, whom he will barely be allowed to see. He will lose half his wealth and half his stuff to her. And if his ex-wife is a real fluffy, he may have to pay her alimony for the rest of his life, with no legal obligation on her to fip up and pull her own financial weight. The above reasoning is typical of the masculists, but lately, over the past decade, we have been seeing the proportion of female to male students at college rise and rise. So what is going on? Masculists estimate that about 80% of female students at college are studying fluffy crap majors that, in the US at least, will put them into student debt, often to the tune of $100,000, so $100K, which they have to pay off after they get a job. But with their fluffy crap diplomas, they are unable, usually, to get well-paid jobs, so are burdened with their student debt for decades of their lives. Some of these particularly parasitic fluffy crapper women even expect their man-slave husbands to pay off their student debt for them. Of course, masculists spit on such women. Women on the whole are less creative and innovative than men, so it's not surprising that it is men who have been at the vanguard of questioning, quote, "What is the point of going to college if all it gives you is a useless diploma that the economy doesn't value and a student debt of $100,000? That seems really dumb, so fuck college. I'll go to trade school and learn a trade that will allow me to earn really good money." End quote. Millions of young men are now deserting college, seeing it as pointless, dumb, so they choose not to go to college. Young women, on the other hand, have been taught by feminists, by their mothers, that it's very important for them to become financially independent so that they do not suffer the boredom and ennui that upper middle class housewives suffered in the 50s and 60s. Unfortunately, these feminist mothers did not emphasize sufficiently the importance of studying economically useful majors. So in practice, some 80% of young women today choose to study economically useless majors and then go to college to do more of the same. With more women going to college and less men choosing to go to college, it's not surprising that the student-gender ratio is now 2-to-1 on many campuses in the US. Those majors that do result in getting higher salaries, for example, the sciences, engineering, math, computing, geology, etc., tend to have a higher male component than female, since the males are motivated to earn high salaries, so put in the effort to study subjects that are more intellectually demanding and hence are higher paid due to their greater usefulness to society and the economy. With many of the fluffy crap majors, however, that women tend to study, once these women graduate, they often find a job that does not use what they learned at college. So what a waste of time and money, getting themselves hugely into debt. The male students who study STEM and the professions are much more likely to use the knowledge they learned at college from day one of their jobs. Thus, they did not waste their time and money at college. It looks as though women are slower at learning the idea that studying fluffy crap at college is dumb. So now we have millions of highly indebted women with low earning capacity who are starting to go through the same type of reasoning as men went through a decade earlier, thinking that maybe college is a waste of time and money if one studies a fluffy crap major. The problem for women, however, is that the trades often do not appeal to them. So they prefer to have jobs that are not dirty, dangerous and difficult, the 3 Ds, preferring cushy, air-conditioned office jobs that pay a lot less. Another reason why so many young men now shy away from college is that colleges are deeply monoconscious at the moment, infested with feminist rhetoric about how toxic men are rapists, etc. This will probably change in the coming decade as masculism strongly penetrates the universities, but that has not happened yet. So by default, there is a monopoly of gender politics on campus that is feminist, with nearly all university students knowing very little, if nothing at all, about masculist ideas. Masculism as a gender political ideology has yet to take back the universities, but that is coming. So, with the two main reasons above for why young men avoid college, it's not surprising that the student ratio, female to male, is now 2 to 1. The next question is whether this ratio has any effect on the masculist emphasis on women fipping up? Question mark. The fact that some 80% of female college students are studying fluffy crap majors only increases the masculist emphasis on women to study career competent majors that will make them fips as adults and not expect some stupid gullible man-slave to work for her for decades of his life. With millions of women now having heavy student debt, they will probably make the life of their man-slaves even worse, because they will wiggle their twats at their men and push them to pay for their female student debts, worsening the quality of life of their man-slaved husbands, the dumb fucks. Probably, I think the female to male ratio, student ratio, will start evening out again, as women wake up to the idea that the men have known about for a decade or so, that there's no point going to college to study some fluffy crap major and getting heavily into debt. That is dumb. Also, it's likely that the young males on campus will soon be infected by the masculist virus, so will be able to attack and crush the feminist dominance on campus and replace it with a more balanced bi-consciousness, so that those remaining monoconscious feminazi bigots, MFBs, on campus will have their fucking heads bitten off by very angry, hateful young masculists who will make mincemeat of these fluffy feminist hypocrites, crushing them with masculist ideas and masculist hatred for what women do to men. For example, their decades-lasting man-slavery, their butchery of men in the divorce courts, their mara but no para, etc. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. Author of the book Masculism, Men's Rebellion Against Being Man-Slaves to Women, an e-textbook of 520 plus masculist flyers for men's studies courses, freely downloadable in Microsoft Word format from my website. Ciao.